I can kind of see one day my vlog channel being my only channel.
You really want to look to people who have similar lifestyles to you.
They think about it and they think about it and they think about it and then they just can't do it. I don't get it. This is terrible, but I don't care. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a Q&A. I got some questions on Instagram and we're going to do a bit of a roaming video while I answer them. I'm going to start with a funny one because it really made me laugh. Do you think Manny likes you more since lockdowns? He seems to want to be around you more. I think I might have led you to believe that the dog hates me. Manny is the dog, for those of you that don't know. It's a running joke that the dog hates me because he loves Lee. Lee is his person. The dog didn't hate me. Also, I don't spend any more time really with Manny now since working from home and since the lockdowns and stuff than I did before because I work upstairs. This is the office. He's a downstairs dog. He doesn't roam. He can't actually get upstairs by himself these days. But even when I bring him up, he goes back downstairs. He likes to be in his room with his things. We're cool. 2 hair questions. Any regrets with the hair chop? I'm screenshotting these and deleting them as we go so that I get... Oh no! I just blocked someone by accident. I'm so sorry. Can I unblock you? That was too easy. I just wanted to delete the response. I didn't want to block you. Yeah. Any regrets with the hair? And then somebody else has asked something about my hair. Where is that question? How are you feeling about the fabulous new hair? I am loving it. Absolutely no regrets whatsoever. Gotta tell you, was concerned that there would be regrets. I'm going to take this off. It's freezing. This, by the way, is from Tesco. Very recently from the men's section. I was wearing it in a vlog. Someone asked and I haven't answered it yet. So just in case you see this first, because I've been rubbish with comments recently. Yeah, I was definitely concerned that I might regret cutting all my hair off. But I can tell you absolutely without a shadow of a doubt, 0 regrets. It is so easy. It just is like, it's ridiculous. The amount of time I spent on my hair, and you would never even think it because it was never done. Like maybe, let's say 1 out of 10 occasions, and that is being generous. Maybe I did my hair. I really didn't even do it that amount of times. It just wasn't worth all of the effort just to kind of keep it clean and dry, honestly. So now I just wash it for fun. I don't even have to there's no thought, there's no logistics behind my hair anymore. Well, I've got to do this on this day, so when am I going to wash it? I'll just wash it all the days. I'll just wash it all the days. A few holiday related questions. Holiday trips, holiday/trips, plans for the year, and will you vlog them? Yes. Second question, do you have anything booked to do in New York? Third question, I'm from Hong Kong, which I think you said you're going to. Thought about the beauty shopping you'll do. All kind of within the same sphere, aren't they? And so within that, you now know I'm going to New York, which is in a matter of weeks. I can't wait. And I'm going to Hong Kong, which is so out there. I haven't mentioned it in a regular video, but I did mention it in the podcast that I do with Emma every Wednesday. We talked about it there. And I'm so excited. I mean, I'm really, really excited to go to Hong Kong, honestly. I'm going by myself. I'm going to visit my friend Molly, who's gone out to live there for at least a year, but who knows, you know, could go absolutely amazingly and then she'll live there forever and then I'll go back and back. But I didn't, initially I said when she was going to go out there, oh, I'll come and visit you, which is something that you say. And I assumed, you know, maybe I will. And then I was talking to Lee about it and he was like, just book it. Why? Just get it booked. So I moved some leave around at work and I did. And I'm going to be 14 hours to Hong Kong on my own. And the really funny part of that is once I'd booked the flight, which honestly wasn't even that expensive, to say how far away it is. Once I'd booked the flight, I messaged Molly and I said, right, okay, booked that. She offered me to stay with them, but I just don't want to be in the way because her partner is working. She will be eventually, but at the moment she can't. I say partner, they got married before they went away, so her husband is working. So I thought, no, I'll get a hotel. And I said, where should I be looking at? And she said, it totally depends whether or not you want to stay on the island or not. And it was at that point that I realised I had not even looked at a map to see Hong Kong, on a map, before I booked flights to Hong Kong. The other place is New York, which, you know, I mean, at this point, It feels like a home away from home. I love New York. It is my very favourite. If I really had to tell you one place for the rest of my life, it would be New York, because you can have so many different kinds of holidays there. In the summer, in the winter, you know, Christmas. But we're going in May. We've never been in May before. I'm really excited about seeing the like cherry blossoms and all of like just the springtime stuff to do in New York that we've never done before. So we have got some plans, but it's mostly well, we've booked to go to the ballet, which is a bit out there for us, and we've booked to go and see Chicago. And we've never been to a Broadway show. We've done the West End, we've done a Radio City show, but we've never been to a Broadway show. So I'm excited about that. Am I still enjoying my blog? Yes. I have kind of like, I keep forgetting about it, to be quite honest. If it's out of sight, it's out of mind. I need something front and centre to remind me to post there, because I don't check it every day. But yeah, I am really enjoying it. I actually wrote something for my blog when I looked through these questions, because we're going to do a whole separate mental health Q&A. This is like frivolous fun stuff. We're going to get, because it just felt too deep to be in amongst like, what small other good can you recommend to be talking about depression? So when I got those questions, I thought, yes, I want to answer these questions and I want to really think them through. And the best way that I can do that is to write about my feelings. And so that's basically what I did. I did a little blog post, which you can read now before that video goes up. I did a little blog post just kind of talking through how I'm feeling about things. And I find that writing stuff out like that works really well for me. I suppose it's a little bit like journaling. In terms of makeup and beauty and stuff like that, I had forgotten how labour intensive beauty reviews were. Like getting the pictures, the editing, just everything about it, and the time that it takes to do any kind of review like that. I'm steadily trying to go through everything that I own, swatch it, do some mini reviews. It's going to be it's a huge undertaking. It might not even be done within a year. I'm trying to look at it like, you've got all of this stuff. You can't keep all of this stuff. This is a huge amount of things for the life that I lead. I don't need all of this stuff. I'd rather have the space to rejig all of my kind of organisation. I don't just want to like pull things out and be like, I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. It can serve one last purpose, and that will be to re-review. So I'm pulling things out, I'm swatching them, I'm testing them out, and as I review them, I'm like, yay or nay. And that's how I'm decluttering. But it is a huge process doing it that way, rather than like one fell swoop. I'm doing a steady declutter, and I'm kind of doing that via my blog. So I'm really enjoying that, but it takes time. I have just bought an Hourglass glossy lip thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it was really expensive. And I've just put this on from Revlon called Glossed Up Rose. It's the Revlon Super Lustrous Shine. And I am slightly worried that this is going to be exactly the same as the Hourglass one that I spent all that money on. I have some candle making questions from you, which I was kind of surprised by, because I did a Q&A all about the candle making stuff. Not that long ago. I'll link it for you below, but I do have a few questions. First of all, what inspired me to start a candle business with my friend? Do you know what? If you've been watching me for any length of time, I feel like you will know this about me, but I don't think about things that much. Like, I understand the premise of overthinking. You know, when someone says something to you and you're like, oh God, you know, do you remember that thing I said when I was 8 and I shouldn't have said that? I get that. But like, people who want to do something and they think about it and they think about it and they think about it and then they just can't do it, I don't get it. That has just never been me. It will never be me. If I think one day, oh, do you know what? I think I'd quite like to take up skiing. I'll be on them slopes within a week. I'll find somewhere to ski. Like, I don't think too hard before trying something. I have a strange level of confidence in myself that I could probably do it if I wanted to, and it's just a matter of whether or not I want to stick to it. So I can't tell you exactly what it was. I don't remember the day. Me and Karen weren't like hemming and hawing for months or years about what we were going to do. We kind of had a thing in the back of our minds. Karen had an Etsy shop for a while where she sold crocheted stuff. She did like a market at Christmas time a couple of years ago. And I remember saying to her, I wish I had something to sell so that we could do this together. And we got really, really close. Karen's partner died. We got really, really close after that, and we spent a lot of time together. And it kind of just one day, I honestly, I wish I knew. I wish I knew. And I don't know which of us said, candles. I don't know how it was. I don't know where it came from. So I can't answer that question. But all I can tell you is there was no, I wanted to do this for 10 years. It just happened literally overnight. And then from there, it's months and months of testing before you can launch anything. But the initial, let's do this, was probably an evening. Dream candle scent. Now this is tricky. We're actually launching these. I'm currently pouring our summer jars. They're kind of cocktail themed. So there's a pina colada, which is Cocoa Beach. There is a mojito, which is Havana. And then we've got Palm Springs, which is aloe and coconut, which is like a really fresh, but it's kind of creamy and sweet still because of the coconut, but it says a cleaner scent of the three. Although the mojito with the mint, I don't know. I was really struggling to find mojito scents that didn't smell like toilet cleaner to me. So once I found one, I was like, to the gods. But that's kind of been on my mind for months and months, especially the mojito scent, that was like the elusive one that I couldn't find. So at the moment, that's my favourite. The one that I still feel is in my mind of I'm trying to recreate something and I can't quite get it is what I want is Boss Bottled. The scent of Boss Bottled, like a little really warm, sweet, woodsy scent. Everything is very sharp and aftershavey. I realise that is an aftershave, but there's a very specific thing. And I think probably next year, this year is going to be maxed out, but probably next year I'm going to go and see whether or not I can work with someone to create that scent, because I just cannot. Blending things and stuff, it's just not working. I think I want something very, very specific, and I can do it. It's just going to be expensive and involve other people. What is your favourite scent that you've made for smoke and matches? I think it has to be cashmere, honestly. It was Beach House. Beach House was my absolute favourite of all time. Still possibly, it's really tied, but cashmere now. If there's two of them, the cashmere one is the one that I'm burning. And that was Holiday House at Christmas if you had it. And could smoke and matches be your full-time career? Listen, I have said this for years about YouTube as well, because whenever I do a Q&A, I mean, it's been 14 years at this point, and people have asked that question. I mean, not for 14 years, but maybe for 12, about whether or not I would want YouTube to be my, like, entire gig. Like, do you want to leave work and do this full time? And I've always said, no, that was never the plan. That was never the idea, for a couple of reasons. And this is the same way that I feel about the candle business now. I don't ever want to rely on what is like my creative outlet, which for a long time was YouTube, vlogs and stuff. And now is definitely the candles and that business. I never want that to become like the source of all my income. Like, I don't want to depend on that to pay my bills. And now I'm sharing the business with my friend Karen. It's just not what I want. Whether she wants that, that's totally up to her. If she wants, I would love for it to become like financially viable for us to leave our jobs. But more than anything, I think, especially as someone who's been semi-self-employed for so long, you need multiple income streams. Nothing is guaranteed. Even my regular income, even my regular job, I could get laid off, get made redundant. It's happened in the past. I could lose my job for, I could just be terrible. No guarantees in life. And I think it's smart to keep as many income streams as possible. So if I've got, my regular channel, my vlog channel, my blog in theory, anything that could bring in money, makes me feel more secure, but it also allows me to have that, like, the fun, never get bored type of thing. A lot of people have asked me about this because I believe I've got ADHD. I'm so many years away on the waiting list. It just is what it is with the NHS. But I believe I have undiagnosed ADHD. And a lot of my life, that makes sense. And a lot of the jobs, I've had so many jobs. The job I have now is very varied. The hours are super flexible, which is super important for me. And because I only work part-time, the rest of my time is spent on fun things that keep my interest. And I never want those fun things to feel like pressured. I want to be able to walk away, especially from YouTube. I've always said this. If one day I wake up and I'm like, I don't want to put myself on the internet anymore. I want to be able to not, because I've got a normal job. So that's kind of how I want it to stay with the business. If one day we're like, this is a lot of work for not enough back, then I want either of us to be able to just say, okay, that's enough. I might feel differently in 5 years, but as is, no. The plan is not to make this my full-time gig. If we got to a point of like, wow, this is absolutely incredible and it's unsustainable to continue this while working full-time, then we'd have to have a conversation. But as long as we can do it alongside our jobs, we will. Moving house was a question that I was not prepared for because we haven't talked about it in so long. But do you still want to move house in the next 2 or 3 years to your forever home? Where and why? No, actually no. We've thought a lot about this in the past 6 months or so, especially, you know, I mean, with everything as it is and interest rates and stuff. We've decided we're basically going to stay here until we only have to think about us. And that really comes to when Milo's finished school. At that point, if we move all 4 of us together, or there's 3 or there's 2, that's a completely different situation. We'll kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. We always want to have space for both of the kids to come home. But once Milo's left school, then we can move pretty much wherever we want to move, but within reason, so that we can kind of end up where we want to end up. And our forever home won't have been like dependent on schools and how quickly we can get to places and how the kids can get around and stuff. So we're going to stay here for a long time now, which actually makes me feel great because it was really stressful. Just generally thinking everything that we did, whether it be like little thing, you know, painting or, you know, starting a business, anything that we did, kind of in the back of my mind, I was thinking, well, we might move. Like at the moment, I've kind of commandeered the office room to become like this enormous, like maximalist closet situation. And I've done that because, well, we're going to be here for years and years. So by the time we come to want to sell, I can take this down, we can do whatever. But I want to live the way I want to live in the house that we're paying for. Do you know what I mean? For a long time, we haven't done that. For the first 4 years, Mum and Dad lived here. We all thought we were going to be moving, so we didn't paint any walls, we didn't do anything. Then when they moved and we bought them out, we decided that we were only going to stay for a couple of years and then sell. So we still weren't doing a lot. Steadily, it's starting to feel like, okay, we can do stuff to this house. It's worth putting money into it because we're going to stay. But no, we are not moving for the foreseeable future. Oh, someone asked a question about foundation shade that I should have answered earlier. They said they use Calico in number 7, same as me. What shade do I use in NYX that I'm using lately? I think she means NARS. That's the thing that I put on my face at the beginning of this video. It is Terra Nerve. I'll link it for you below. It is fantastic. In fact, weirdly enough, my friend Molly, who lives in Hong Kong, she messaged me yesterday and said, thanks for the recommendation, because she said it's so humid there and it's the only thing that she's been putting on, like in terms of a base, when she's needing to wear or wanting to wear foundation. So great reviews all around. Would highly recommend. And the one that you get in the UK, I know it's different elsewhere, is also SPF 30. Like I said earlier, I got a lot of mental health related questions, so I am going to do a follow-up video to that. Or to this rather, talking specifically about that. But a lot of like, do you think this would help? Do you think that would help? You know, stuff about motivation and things like that. So if you're interested, stay tuned because that's coming. Oh, I've got some more on the hair. Love your hair. Any thoughts on changing colour now? So I actually do have an appointment, not next week, the week after, beginning of May. And I'm really undecided at the moment. I love the colour. I love what she's done with it. I think she's an absolute genius. I go to Laura at Mr. Tony in Doncaster, near the region, and I pay for my treatments. When she cut all my hair off, she donated, she said, don't pay me, donate the fee that she would have charged me, like the cost of my appointment, to the fund for the Little Princess Trust, so I donated it for her and for me. But that was £49. I don't think it's like super unreasonable prices. I think as well, it all depends on where you're from. But I think that she is an actual magician. She didn't do anything colour-wise to my hair, and it feels really fresh. It's been ages since she put any colour in my hair at all. But I have got another appointment. I wanted to do it as a second one because I wanted to live with the short hair first and see, you know, what am I liking. I quite like it like it is, but I do want a bit of a switch up, and I think I'm going to go blonder. She will err on the side of caution always, so I can't imagine I'm going to come out with like white hair, but I do want to be blonder. I want a dark root still, blonder. Oh, and somebody else asked a question that I think is a decent follow-up as well, because I want to do some more style, I know, but style videos. I think style sometimes gets confused with fashion, and you kind of sometimes look at someone and think, well, like I wrote a style book, I get it. I'm not someone that you would necessarily look to for style inspiration, but I think that you can get it from anywhere, and you really want to look to people who have similar lifestyles to you. If you enjoy their style, the way that they dress, then they're like your inspirations, you know? This person says, love your new hair, how to find style after baby. I am 100% going to do some content in the summertime. I want to do some kind of leading up to our holiday where I show you how I do my capsule wardrobe. I still stand by a lot of the stuff that I wrote in my book. I get next to no money for buying that book, by the way. This is not a plug. I think I made like 50p a book or something crazy. It was a really, really bad deal. But I still feel like the information that I gave in there is still solid. It wasn't specific to the time. The whole premise is that you are styling your current phase of life. It's called lifestyling. And I think I might make some content like surrounding some of the messaging in that book, because before they reached out to me to write it, I'd already put a lot of work into like a video series, and it was really spooky. And they contacted me and said, would you be interested? First of all, I thought it was a joke. I was like, surely not. Until that book was in my hand, I didn't think it was real. But I kind of had already put a lot of time into it, so I think I might still create some content around those themes, because I was ready to back in, I think it was 2019. We're back in the office because we've got the question, treating myself to my first luxury SLG. What is your fave? SLG is a small leather good. I'm missing one or two. One specifically that I wanted to mention, and I just cannot lay my hands on it right now. It'll be in a safe place. You know how it goes. Anyway, small leather goods. One of my favourite things to buy. Don't judge me. They are expensive, completely unnecessary purchases, but they are, in the grand scheme, a more affordable little snippet of that luxury brand. And I have thoughts. Skip ahead if this is not your vibe, because I get it. This is a little bit off topic, but we could do a whole video on this. In fact, I probably should have. But just in a nutshell, I just want to show you kind of where. So I think the first is this one. This is my Chanel card holder that Lee bought me for my 30th birthday. This is 8 years old, and this, apart from, you know, there's some dirtiness in the corners, but look at that. Not all like scuffed up and scratched. This has just been like thrown in the bottom of big bags. This has worn so beautifully. It's insane. I mean, it feels incredible. Don't want to think about it too much, but it feels incredible. So if it was black, you wouldn't even be able to see that. Super expensive, but very, very beautiful. Probably the second one would be this. Another thing to bear in mind, the colour again. This is looking kind of like dingy around the edges. This was leather and it all peeled off. So what I did was this is terrible, but I don't care. I painted it with gel nail polish, and that was years and years ago, and it has been fine. I actually took it back and they told me that it was outside of the warranty period by like 2 weeks or something, so they wouldn't replace the button, which is insane given the price. But yeah, I just painted it with that. But you can see like the edges kind of curl on these pieces. It just, I don't know. At one time, this was my very favourite item ever. And I go back and forth, but that, I mean, even like the printing inside, that's kind of wearing off. I wouldn't buy something in this colour necessarily again for that reason, because I just don't think it wears that well. Opposite end, I bought this second hand and it was already like old as the hills and really worn by the time I got it, in like a darker colour, and I think this is worn way better. I mean, the fact that it's older as well probably plays a part, but you can see like it's worn, like really worn. I paid next to nothing for this. And then I actually took it into Louis Vuitton and got them to heat stamp it for me, which I considered to be an authentication that they'd seen it and gone, yeah, cool. This I love. I think this was called like the Traveller wallet or the Continental wallet. But as like as something, it fits the passports in it and everything, as something to have with you, and it's got the coin for traveling. This is great, but they don't do this anymore. I'm just kind of giving you that as an example of like, this is so much newer than this, but you would never know it. This I bought more recently, still probably 5 or so years ago. Me and my friend went and had these made. I haven't used this that much. My friend uses hers all the time, like as a bag, but I haven't used this that much. So I've started using this as like a little like makeup bag, little stuff that I might want with me in my handbag, just so I'm getting use from it. It's so beautiful. And it was more of a keepsake than anything, because you have everything like done as you want it. But I just couldn't quite find the use for it. I think as well we bought it just before 2020 and I just stopped using bags and purses and stuff. So these things have gone really neglected for a long time. This I bought myself for my 10-year YouTube anniversary, and you can see again, this is 4 years old. And again, this, it like pulls away and it curls up all of the stuff that is made with this canvas. I love this. It's actually a men's wallet. I love the orange and everything about it. I probably would still buy it again, but it is just worth noting that that is going to happen on everything that you buy in that canvas. If I was going to recommend one thing, if I was like, if you're going to buy one thing and you want it to last really, really well, it would be this, or something in this collection. This is from YSL. This is the, I want to say it's called Meta, something like that. Anyway, it's like their version of like a pebbled, like a caviar leather. And it feels indestructible. Like, it looks brand new. And I think this is probably 6 years old. It just looks absolutely brand new. These are really hard wearing. So if you're thinking like, I might buy one thing, I would recommend this. They do loads of different colorways, loads of different metals and stuff. Purely because the structure holds up really well. The material of it is really hard wearing. There you go. We've got a little mini small leather goods review in the middle of this Q&A. I'm going to make my last question from Joe. What are you enjoying and not enjoying about YouTube at the moment? Oh, I should have thought about this in advance, Joe. Should have kind of collected my thoughts. I'm enjoying all the things that I always enjoyed about it. I love the connection, especially because at the moment I'm daily vlogging. So every single day I am posting something on my vlog channel. Every day I am talking to you, I am editing it, I'm uploading, I'm getting comments back, I'm responding. The connection is never stronger than when I'm daily vlogging. I feel like I know you. I feel like we're friends. It feels like an actual group of people, like a community. I know is overused, but like it feels like a group of people where we all come together and do the same things. Like there's the same people that come into the comments every day. I feel like you guys are a collective group and we're in the same room. I always feel that way when I'm daily vlogging, but I also feel that the mirror is held up a little bit too much at the same time. Like I'm a bit more aware of myself. I'm a bit more in my head a little bit when I'm vlogging every single day. I'm, you know, because again, I'm vlogging every day. I'm seeing myself. I'm then hearing myself back every single day, thinking of something different to talk about every day, it really quickly devolves into how I'm feeling. And then the how I'm feeling, again, mirrors back to me throughout the month. On day 1, if I say, I'm not feeling great, on day 5, I'm still receiving comments responding to day 1, and it kind of perpetuates that, no, you weren't feeling great on day 1. How am I feeling today? That is the only thing that is a negative about daily vlogging for me. Otherwise, love it. Love everything about it. It's a real rush. I wish I could sustain it. I think if I did this permanently, like full time, I could daily vlog. It might be really, really boring for you, but from a creative perspective, vlogging every single day really keeps me on task, and it's a really great routine thing for me because I'm not a routine person, but that kind of is a bit of a haphazard routine. I don't know. When I stop, I kind of feel like I power down. Like, come the end of this month, I will just not want to do anything for a week. It's because I just like get off the treadmill and then I go, oh, I have to stay on it in some way. So I'll have to just keep going. But yeah, at the moment I'm feeling really positive. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm also very aware of myself because of it. The negatives of YouTube are always pretty much the same. At the moment, it is feeling like I probably had a run of content where I was just posting what I wanted to post and I wasn't really thinking about it, and it got less views. And what happens with the algorithm is it will give you a certain amount of time, and then if you're not getting the views back, it will just stop showing people the videos. So quite a while ago now, that seems to have happened, and it feels as if my main channel is just dying now, which is hard to then keep making content for it when it feels like YouTube is not letting it die, but almost killing it, because YouTube holds all the cards. So it is really difficult to kind of reconcile those two things. I want to make the content, I'm really enjoying this, but if nobody sees it, what's the point? What is the point? It does feel a little bit that way sometimes, and that you've got no control. I'm so happy that I did decide to keep my content separate a long time ago. A man who will remain nameless, but you may remember me not liking him very much. He owned a large beauty brand, told me that I should put everything in one pot, everything should be in one place, and everything I was doing was wrong. And he gave me some advice that I took. And so I started changing up my content, and I changed my name. I did loads of things, and that feels like it was the beginning of the end, honestly, for that channel. Had a little bit of a peak, but ever since. And I split things back up again, and I decided to kind of go back to my original format, but it felt like the damage had been done. I'm so happy now that I do have the separate channels, because YouTube can kill one channel, but I still have the other channel to focus my attention on, and to still feel like, no, if I post things, the core audience that I've always watched will still see it. And it also helps to see kind of how YouTube treats different content on different channels as well. It's interesting because they're completely separate. They're not in any way connected. They are totally separate. So yeah, it really is with social media in general. And you will hear this from creators again and again. And I know that it's boring to hear, because it's even boring for me to hear it, and it affects me. But the algorithm, we are absolutely at the mercy of the algorithm. And if you are not doing something exactly correctly, then it just tosses you aside, and then you don't reach the same amount of people anymore. Thankfully, like I say, the core people that want to see my videos seek them out. I know some of you see them all the time anyway, and the chances are that's because you're really engaged. If you are watching videos all the time, you're commenting, you are actually engaging with things, YouTube will still show you that content. But there are a lot of people that were just kind of watching. I'll tell you when it really hit home for me is when I started making random videos on TikTok. Every time I post something on TikTok, someone will comment and say, oh, I used to watch you, or oh, I thought you disappeared off YouTube. A lot of people. And that's been really eye-opening, that I just stopped being shown in feeds. And I never went away. I actually used to post so many videos. This is probably going to spill over onto the second part of this, but I used to post so many videos, and I look back now and I'm like, my work-life balance was insanely imbalanced. And now I've added additional things like the candle business. There's no wonder I feel so overwhelmed. But it also, when it comes, like, when push comes to shove, then I feel like, well, I have to choose where that energy and that focus goes, and it can't go to a thing that I have no control over. So I can kind of see one day my vlog channel being my only channel. I'll see how I feel, you know, in the next few years, no time soon. But I can see that happening, and I can see vlogs in general, kind of like just chatty and just here, there and everywhere, just being what I do indefinitely. I would do that forever. Whereas videos that require actual research, thought, preparation, the videos I'd like to be making, I just cannot put the time and the energy into them when no one's going to see them. It's frustrating. But I do think that once daily vlogging in April is done, I am going to put a little bit more kind of fun and creativity back into my vlogs, since I'm going to do less of them. And when we go to New York at the end of the month, I'm going to try and make those like my best travel vlogs. I'm just going to really kind of go all in and see what, you know, see what I've got in me for YouTube. I don't know. Yeah, that was a real ramble at the end, but that is how I'm feeling. That's my, like, the ebbs and flows of YouTube. That's always been the same. You hear a lot of people talk about the algorithm now, like it's like, oh, the algorithms, oh, now it's always been the same. It's always been, you do as well as YouTube wants you to do, is the thing. And if you stick around, maybe you'll ride it out and get back, or maybe you won't. But we really don't have any control whatsoever. It's another reason that we set up our own shop and our own mailing list for smoke and matches, rather than using, I mean, we are on Etsy, but we don't push Etsy because you just don't have any control. You need your own website. Another reason that I started blogging again, I want to have somewhere where that is completely that's my domain. If I decided to one day just started posting videos there instead and like pay for publishing videos there instead of posting them on YouTube, I'd have complete control of like pushing them out to people via email or whatever. I in the last couple of years have really been reminded how important it is to like own your space on the internet, because YouTube could just shut down my channel tomorrow and there is literally nothing I can do about it. I cannot imagine anybody has managed to get all the way to the end. If you are stuck under a rock and you are like unable to change the channel, I hope that you get help. I hope that someone hears your screams and you are able to escape. But for those of you who intentionally watched this, thanks, and you particularly may be particularly interested in my next follow-up about mental health.